All right, come on in, everyone. Welcome to this pod class on miracles. And it is a miracle
Yeah,
that me and Cody are still
are here.
teaching after all these years. No one's sued us yet, knock on wood, or anyway. Didn't like that joke you made about Hanukkah. By the way, Hanukkah's coming up. Happy
Happy
Hanukkah,
Hanukkah.
Cody. Yeah, to
It's
you as well.
it started. We're well into it. Yeah.
Oh, it started.
Didn't
Oh,
it? I thought I saw it on my calendar.
someone tell us. Yeah, I should know. If anyone, I should know. I've
I
been in
could be
Spain,
wrong.
so
Oh
all
no,
right.
it starts next week, the
Okay,
15th.
cool.
Yeah.
All
I'm ahead
right.
of myself.
So, so this is a good time to
Wait, I have to go put out a couple candles. It started early.
so you might not be watching this on during the holidays if you're not here live, but if you are, happy holidays. We're getting there, and it's a good time, I think, to discuss miracle energy and just that vibration that we want to start bringing in. And this year Cody's going to be Santa like every year, and
I
I've got some.
shaved. I don't have my gray
Uh,
beard anymore.
I've got some presents to ask for. So
You've
before
been
we jump,
David's been
yeah.
naughty, so he's not getting anything.
Oh yeah, I've been taking some comedy classes, and they pulled me up on stage. So let's see what happens. Might might get real crazy up there on that stage in Barcelona next weekend. Um, all right, so we're gonna jump into the topic of miracle energy and do a meditation on it. But before we do, just a couple of quick announcements. One is we finally set the date for our intuitive training 2026. Now I forgot the date, but I think it's March 31st.
I think it's
Uh,
March 31st.
maybe
Yeah,
Jenny could put the link in there. Oh, happy birthday, David. It was my birthday this weekend. That's right.
it
Thank you.
was.
Yeah, Cody, why don't you show up in Spain with a present? And
Yeah,
so
I
so
wish.
we we've got we've got intuitive training. We haven't taught it in like 4 years. We're gonna finally do it again together, March 31st, maybe March 2026, and
The end
then
of March.
yeah, and then we are gonna do a Japan retreat. We're almost
Yes.
finished putting it together. We think it's gonna start November 5th, 2026. 11 days, right? 11 days.
10 or 11 days, I think the 5th through the 15th or something.
So we do have a
Very
wait.
exciting trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got quite the itinerary going.
We have a wait list. So if you want on our website, you can put your name on it and then we'll let you know once we launch it, hopefully in the next few weeks or so as we get all the details together. Nothing like seeing Cody with a samurai sword and
That's
in a
right.
Zen monastery doing his thing. Yeah. Um, all right. Uh, someone was asking me, why do you make fun of Cody so much? Like, it's like, oh, that's just how we show love. Thank you for that, Jenny. She put the link in.
Oh,
Can you
good.
put the link in for the, if you're on Zoom with us, can you put the link in for the Japan retreat wait list too? Okay, so let's jump into the vibration of miracles. And really what we want for you today, if you're going to meditate with us, is to experience that for yourself. But before we get there, maybe we could discuss a few different types of miracles and how we see what miracles are in relationship to the kind of energy work that we do. Obviously, there's different kinds in religion, in religious thought, spiritual thought. And maybe Cody, you were sharing a
Yeah,
little bit about how you saw miracles before we started recording.
there's certainly different definitions, and it is interesting that we do tend to pick this topic around the holiday season because it does seem like these different holiday or spiritual celebrations are centered around different miracles and the energy of a spirit coming into the world, something happening that defies logic or defies what we would think of as reality. And I think in energy work, we really kind of look for miracles in recognizing how energy tends to work in the world or how spirit works and shifts things and things happen kind of outside the normal pattern of what you would expect. And there's little miracles and there's oftentimes big miracles, but we tend to look from an energy awareness of any miracle really is a shift in energy and a step. So whether that's an internal thing where you suddenly have clarity or you clear an energy and everything's different all of a sudden, or it plays out in the world, we want to validate those miracles. And what was that quote that you had that about miracles that
Yeah, there's one quote that either everything is a miracle or nothing. Yeah.
yes.
On one level, that is true, maybe on a deep existential level, but kind of on our human experience level, I do think at moments there are miracles that break through the matrix, so to speak. That
Yeah. But
that
I
do,
think that
yeah,
speaks to the perspective though that you have to start to see miracles and recognize them and that as an everyday occurrence or there's none, right? It's like that you have to start to kind of get in the energy of miracles. And there is an interesting thing in energy work where when you get into a particular vibration, not only do you start to see it more around you because you're kind of looking at that vibration, but it starts to happen more as well. And that's always the enjoyable thing of teaching is hearing the little miracles that people start to experience and witness and create as they start to work with energy or blow a picture or shift things energetically in their world. Yeah.
yeah, there also sometimes physical healing miracles, relationship shift miracles, financial miracles. Maybe we could break it into two kinds. The one kind of miracle is the kind that happens by grace, where really we did nothing. You can't see that someone's done something, and maybe they haven't even shifted their energy or their consciousness. Maybe they're just in a really rough spot in life, and then just something, the skies part, and something happens that helps shift their life. Those maybe are the ones that kind of come by grace that
Hmm.
there's nothing you can do about to force that to happen or to bring it in. And then there maybe are the kind that we're more interested in working with everyone here today on, which is when you shift and realign your energy and you're more open, one, to seeing the miracles already happening around you all the time that you're probably mostly missing because you're maybe stuck in thought or anxiety or pain or fear. And then shifting as you shift your energy, drawing in some of what it is that you want to experience or create or a healing you want to have or a fundamental shift in your life. And I do think that those exist. I think part of the definition of a miracle is that it's almost unexplainable. That, yeah, we can say it's spirit coming through or God or a glitch in the matrix or something or an angel or all of the above, or a deceased aunt relative that's helped us out, and could be all of those things, maybe. And then another level, perhaps part of the whole point is that it's a mystery and that it just unfolded and you get to experience it and live it and have it. And when we shift our energy, that's what we start to open up to. And we're going to look at some of that together today in meditation, what miracle energy looks like for you and how to start to have some resonance with it and connect to it. And I'm sure you have a gazillion miracle stories from your life as a teacher and healer, watching people shift and their lives shift. So I'm going to put you on the spot. And if not,
You
I've
have to
got a
come up
few.
with one out of a gazillion. Yeah. I don't know that I have
Uh, I'll
one
start as
on
you
the
think
top of
about
my
it.
head.
And
Yeah.
I shared this last year when I was asked to officiate my first wedding, and my plane got canceled, and I was flying through. I was flying through Miami, but coming from Colorado, and the flight got canceled. Waited 5 hours, And then it was 1 a.m. and the only person I could call for a place to stay was the groom himself. He was flying out in a few days. It was in Morocco, the wedding. And so I went and stayed with him. Next day, tried to fly out again, couldn't get on a plane. Went back, and then we were just standing there overlooking the water. And I looked at him. It's one of my childhood best friends, and I said, "Is your passport valid?" And he was like, "Yeah, what the hell are you talking about? Of course it is." He went in his room and he came out screaming, and it wasn't. And I thought at that moment his wife to be was going to murder him. And she was like, uh, and luckily there was one day, it was a Thursday night, it was Friday, and then the wedding. And he went the next morning. There was one spot. He got an appointment. He got a new passport, an emergency one, and the wedding happened and I got to officiate it. It was the craziest scenario of just life pushing me into his awareness, into his space, and then me having enough awareness, I guess, to just randomly say that. And and I would consider that somewhat of a miracle. If it was my wedding and that had happened, I would be thanking God for quite a while. So
That is a good miracle. You were already officiating before the actual day. You were
I
on
was
it.
already in the energy of officiating.
Yes. Let's make sure this thing happens.
That's that's true. That's true. Um,
Oh,
so and then there's also the healing miracles, which we've seen countless of, whether physical or emotional, spiritual, where, someone's been stuck on something for decades, maybe just really holding them back, and they've almost given up, nothing's going to work. And then somehow in some healing session or in meditation, there's finally some breakthrough and their energy shifts, and then their life starts to shift. And I think there's a mix of work, spiritual work in that, and also some grace from the universe. And,
yeah.
and those are the ones I think that are really the most interesting, like shifting your life from the inside out. And then other people looking at your life going, wow, how do all these amazing things keep happening to you? All these miracles land in your lap. And it's like, yes, and you're showing up. You're doing your side of the work, and then life is showing up and meeting you. And I think that's where the real spiritual work
Yeah.
happens.
That it does seem like in those healing miracles, certainly there's the internal shift that we have, but as the energy shifts, that something shows up that was unexpected. That's a very common way I'll see or recognize miracles. I remember working with someone years ago who uh, had was in a relationship with someone, had very a lot of hope for this relationship, and suddenly it just kind of broke off, and there was this distance. And I did this healing where there was this energy between them, and just moved that energy out so that there could be energetic connection and communication again. And he called me a few days later and said, out of the blue, this person had called him and came back into his life after being kind of absent for a few months. Um,
Mm.
and often people, like there's some energy around being able to kind of have the means to have something, and you clear the energy, and out of the blue, um, the funds or the favor or whatever it is shows up that allows them to kind of move forward. Those happen very often in energy work where you shift the energy first internally, and then the world kind of responds. It opens up the space for movement or something to happen, or that grace to kind of come in and move us forward.
What
Those
you
are
know what?
fun type of
Yeah.
miracles. Yeah.
What could be really interesting too is to look at it from the perspective of you being somebody else's miracle. Like maybe you're the one that shows up on Miracle 30 on 34th Street with the presents.
Right.
You, maybe you step into that energy and create the miracle for others. That's almost even cooler in some ways. That means you really took a good
Yeah.
spiritual step if you're doing that. Um, Yeah.
That's very cool because part of working with the energy, say, of looking at miracle energy is stepping into that vibration. And yeah, yeah, we do often look at it from the sense of a miracle happening for us, but when you're in that energy equally, yeah, you're the miracle in the
And
world for someone. Yeah,
yeah. And with like Christmas coming, we were discussing this before we started that that tradition, and there's a lot of miracles in that tradition, right? Like turning water into wine and bringing people back from the dead. So like very physical miracles that people could see. That's maybe the more external, shallow side of miracles. And even in Hollywood, it's always like getting something physical. But we all know the real miracles are more spiritual and internal. Um, and we were just talking about how so many traditions throughout the history of the world have the same sequence of kinds of events, stories, and then miracles playing out. And people always attract towards the more superficial side of it, which is when you look around, it's all just buying stuff. It's just like
right.
the most spiritual
Getting
day of the
stuff.
year
Yeah,
has just become how much shit can you buy at a discount?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When maybe if you think of Christmas, the central miracle was actually the arrival of a higher level of spiritual consciousness onto the planet was the idea of that arrival, right? So
Yeah.
it was very much an awakening, or it represents an awakening of a new level of consciousness. Um,
Yeah.
and that's
Part,
very much an internal spiritual shift as a miracle. Yeah,
yeah, and part of Hanukkah is the continuation of light, right? Like they were running
right.
out of oil for light, and it was supposed to last one night, and it lasted eight, right? And and so that continuation of light, that's symbolic for that, for
The light of
continuing.
spirit. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Surviving through something. Yeah.
And then it's happened again and again. We were discussing, uh, we were discussing before we started too, how everyone thinks the world is in such a bad place. Obviously, in some ways it is, and because of all that negativity, we're missing all the good. And I was joking with Cody, if we went back in time today to somebody in the year 1900, and we said, hey, in 125 years, the life expectancy is going to be like in the 80s instead of 42. And there's going to be all sorts of life-saving medicine, and you're going to be able to fly around the whole world in one day. And you could call someone in China and talk to them immediately. And, you have a headache, you could take a pill. There's there's so many incredible things that from their perspective, just one out of 1,000 that we have today would be an insane miracle. If we went back to the 1700s and you showed someone electricity, they would see that as a pure miracle, as magic, being able to push a button and heat up your food. And so we're living. I just saw in the news yesterday. I was telling Cody this young girl was cured of almost incurable leukemia for the first time ever with gene editing, or new medicine, breakthrough medicine. And I mean, back in the day, if you got a cold, you were dead. You were right. If you got a cold, you had like a 50% chance of dying from the sniffles. And so for death by sniffle and so if we were to go back and show people that, they'd be like, your whole life is miracles. That is wild. And we take it all for granted and even complain about it. And then life becomes more mundane when the reality is we're living in so many incredible miracles all at once, and we're just not able to maybe have them and appreciate them. And so maybe a part of the, I think, always slowing down in winter and the holiday season is to step back, recognize everything that you do have, and have appreciation for that, and then learn to start to give and share and be beneficial in other people's lives. Right? That's already starting to step into some of that miracle energy. And if one of you wants to create some more breakthrough medicines or travel technologies, that would be also really cool.
Yeah, there are this world is miraculous in many ways, and it's manifests through all those things you're talking about. And yet, I think that recognition is the most important key to being connected to our own energy and our own power to both create and receive, like what happens from spirit, and both that creation and that receiving of it, we could kind of see as a as miracle, that it defies a pattern or the given reality. It just kind of shows up at the right time. It unfolds in the right way. I think we often want to control everything so much, and one of the things I find in miracle energy is it's a in part letting go of and recognizing where we don't have control, and yet things will align as needed to work out, for our kind of highest good or for our answer. So that it's interesting when we work with miracle energy, part of it is letting go of the need to kind of control and dictate, or at least for the mind to do that, and opening up to how spirit actually unfolds and creates, which that to me is a miracle.
And someone was just asking a question about something similar to that. And I think, yes, part of the definition of a miracle is it's unpredictable. So even if you put out the energy of wanting to receive something, when or how it comes back, or if it does, I I don't know if that's part of the energy of that miracle is it's unpredictable. So
Hmm.
I had a teacher that was a Zen teacher that would say you have as much a likelihood of finding enlightenment meditating as you do falling off a bar stool and hitting your head, and yet we sit every day and we meditate.
Yeah.
You gotta, all those Zen guys, they always get you. Uh, and I think when you're doing energy work around miracles, this might be something similar there. You can meditate and do the energy work, and maybe yes, maybe no. Uh, so, and
Yeah.
also, and maybe just to say something energetically about what miracle energy could look like. Obviously, there's no one way, and we are going to look at this together. But sometimes I see it as almost like an energy coming from above, almost like spiritual rain, or like the weather starts to turn, spiritually speaking. And there's like there's a change in atmospheric pressure, and there's just like a heart-centered lightness and connection to something infinite and beyond. And I don't think you can clearly explain it. I'm trying to get close to it as I say that, and you'll have your own version of it. But there is something kind of beyond the veil, that's beyond time and space, that has a certain vibration to it, that there's a quality of peace and of love that we touch sometimes in this life, but we rarely live in. A lot of people who have near death experiences will describe these kinds of places and states, like going through the tunnel to the white light and then feeling nothing but peace and love. And so when we do start to bring that energy into this realm, we might sense some of that kind of in the atmosphere or above us or around us. In the moment, a miracle might start to come through, or before it does.
Hmm.
So the more you could tap into that energy, maybe, maybe hit your head on the bar stool, meditate, maybe it'll start to come in a bit more into your life.
Yeah, there is a level of an openness that you perhaps have to be in, where again, where you're not controlling or directing, but you're kind of open to this energy of a miracle. And there is an experience that I think you're kind of describing. There is an experience to it when that happens. There is an energy that maybe, we tried to name in so many different ways, whether it's sacred or holy or the, the divine, or some kind of a quality to the energy. But it is something that you kind of open up to and tap into. or align your energy with. And maybe that's just our part in it, is to be able to step into and open up to that energy, to that mystery, and be in that mystery.
And can I just
And
add
and
that?
it's
Yeah, go
funny
ahead.
that you talk about the Zen master and the enlightenment, because in many ways, as an energy worker and say an intuitive, I don't know that I'm meditating for enlightenment. I know that when I meditate, I have a better day. And that's enough, right? I change the energy and things flow in a better way. Things unfold in a way that somehow aligns and has that magical miracle quality to it. And if I can have a better day in that way, over and over again, um, if enlightenment comes, great, and if not, great. I'm dynamically creating in the world and enjoying that creation and appreciating spirit, and maybe that's enough.
And what I was going to add to that was sometimes when people think about miracle energy, they get into this thing of, do I deserve it or not? And then into some levels of different levels of self-worth or lack of self-worth. And I think a fundamental part of the miracle energy is that it's beyond that duality of, do I deserve it or not? And that level of consciousness is just not in that vibration of miracle energy. And the miracle can cut through that if it, obviously, if it's going to and wants to. But if you're in that thought process of like, I'm not even deserving of a miracle, all the shitty things I've done or all the good things I haven't done, whatever it is, I think a miracle energy really does transcend some of that human conditioning and how we think we're so finite. And so if you're like, I'm not worthy of any presents from Santa this year or Hanukkah Harry or whoever, then let's maybe we could let some of that energy melt off and just open up. And then one other thing I wanted to add was there's a few spaces we can connect with miracle energy. Obviously, one is from the heart chakra, the heart center, when that heart center opens. Another one is we're going to do some today where we can start to see the energy. And then from the crown chakra is really where we bring in divinity, higher consciousness, and download information and also connect to spirit and kind of open upwards. And so, if the miracle energy, obviously, we're three-dimensional beings, and so we always think of up and down. That's just this reality. So, but speaking in our reality, it's almost like the miracle energy comes down, and or we open up to it. And it might be both, where we you open up to it, and because you're opened up to it, it can come down into you or into your life. If your life is open to it, then it's more likely maybe it could come into your life. So energetically, that's how I like to look at it. If your heart is open, your crown chakra is open, then there's space for it to find you. Because maybe a miracle
Yeah,
happened and you
good
were closed,
description.
and yeah, you didn't see it.
Right. That's the everything or none. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
closed. Yeah.
yeah.
And it certainly, to be in that vibration is a kind of a reminder that we are more than just the physical or this finite expression and experience. It is opening up to the experience that is beyond um, this finite experience and bigger. And so it validates that that part of ourselves. And it does tend to, as we open up to it, it does tend to grow. Like we become more and more connected to that type of vibration. We see more and more of those little miracles and big ones happening.
Mm, yeah,
So
absolutely.
we live in it. Yeah. We can be the miracle in a way. Yeah.
There's this, I watch this science channel on YouTube that I love. It's always neuroscientists and philosophers debating and interviewing each other. It's called Closer to Truth. It's a good one. I think it's a good one. And they will interview people who do psychic science around psi phenomenon and this kind of stuff. So they are very open to that. And but anyway, why I was bringing it up was I like to look at the energy of them debating or talking, discussing, is God real? Are miracles possible? Is psychic phenomenon real? And they always have these discussions, but no matter what discussion they're having, no matter what topic, it tends to be in a band of energy that's just intellectual. And it's almost like they're playing a different game. And there's no energy actually shifting or opening to the possibility. There's no healing happening. There's no heart opening. There's no having visions. It's only the only game you're allowed to play in that realm is the intellect. And so they go into this narrow band, and you have to win in this very narrow band of possibility. And so as much as I like it, and watch it, I'm also like, guys, look, like I'm looking at the one guy. If you just open your heart a little more, there would be so much action over here for you. Just
It
want
is funny
to.
that game that lives in that kind of band because most of what we would talk about is a spirit or miracle or awakening happens in the realm of experience, not thought. It's something you experience, and then that's what gives it reality. That's what gives you kind of the way to look at it and interpret it. And that when you're just in the level of thought, that you're kind of separated from the experience in many ways.
In fact, you're closed. You're closed to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're close. It's not inside the predictive model.
right, right.
You can't compute. You might be getting all sorts of information and psychic impressions and some deceased relatives like yelling at you from behind. Will you just tell the person you love them? And you're just closed down. It's not possible.
It's all filtered out. Yeah,
It's all filtered out. I
yeah.
did it.
In
Yeah.
that band, all the experience that doesn't make sense gets filtered out. So it's not like it's not happening. It's just filtered out as having no value. And when you open up to the experience, then that's what ultimately changes your mind.
Yeah. I had a near death type of experience once going into the tunnel and the white light and the guides and the whole thing. I was probably like 25 and all of it, just like everyone, which I later found out describes it. Just this other timeless dimension where there's no space or time, so you could travel at the speed of thought. You really just are consciousness and thought, and there's this overwhelming feeling of a deep sense of peace and love. And unless you have that experience yourself, yeah, of course, why would you believe that? I wouldn't either. And so, yeah, you have to have that experience and or be open, at least open to the possibility. And I think it's consciousness itself that's able to cross the boundaries of dimensions and space and time. The physical body can't, perhaps, but the mysterious nature of consciousness, I think it can. That's been my experience. And so when we do energy work, we're able to play in both worlds. And maybe today you could say hello to some of that miracle energy for yourself. And let me just say that if you go into saying hello to miracle energy and you're doing it from a place of neediness, like, I need to get that. I need to have this. I need the healing. I have to have it. You're not really in the vibration of opening up to miracle energy. You're in survival, perhaps. You're in some low negative energy of maybe fear. And so when someone's like, but I'm saying all the positive manifestation words and all the mantras and I'm here, I want it, but but you have to truly look at your energy and be honest with your energy. So it's not deserving or not deserving, but it is frequency and energy. So what energy are you really in when you're approaching this? And if you are in a negative or heavy, painful energy, then maybe the miracle is the recognition of that and then the healing and the release of that. Maybe that is the miracle, not something external saving you or pulling you to heaven or fixing your finances. Maybe it is the recognition and the healing of the negativity that you've been stuck in for so long. So I just want to preface that because I see it happen a lot. Like, I'm in the energy. And like, now you're faking it. You're mostly in survival of some kind or some pain. Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't know how much miracles come out of that vibration. Uh,
yeah.
that is one of the blocks, is that need or survival vibration.
Uh
And it does close off that unpredictability. It closes off that openness
it
for it
does.
to come in.
So any questions if you're here live, feel free to put them in the chat now and then we'll go into a meditation here shortly, but first if there's any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And by the way, perhaps the greatest miracle of all is each of us being born out of the billions and billions and billions of possibilities. All the little sperms swimming around, just the right one reaching the egg just at the right moment, and everything going right, and all the trimesters, and all the way to your desk today, and your computer, your phone, to, all, the 10 million trillion things, variables that all came together so that we each of us could be born and have this human experience and make it this far in life to be able to grow and evolve and work on ourselves and have our consciousness expand. That is such an incredible miracle in and of itself, just to be conscious, alive, and here and have the opportunity. So maybe the opportunity itself and the gratitude for the opportunity is a big, big part of the miracle. Maybe we already got it. Maybe the big miracle is we already got it. And then all the meditating and energy work is just to remember, uh, oh, I already
Remember that we
got it.
have it. Yeah,
That
yeah.
might be the big shebang right there. Um, got some nice comments. Let's see. Yeah, all good, nice comments. It is a miracle to be here now. Absolutely. Because what's like the worst thing in life is not to be able to be here or to have someone you love to be here. So the opposite of that is to get to be able to be here and to experience it all, right? Yeah. All right. On that note, we're going to open up some Hanukkah presents. Cody, what did you get me?
A cradle.
What are you? I got enough of those.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, it's okay. I got you some guilt. Okay.
Oh, the gift that keeps on giving, right
That's
there.
right. You're Christian, I'm Jewish, so you give me shame, I'll give you guilt, and we'll call it a day.
There we go. Even swap.